All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this awesome planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this evening as we close out the week just ahead of non-farm payroll, first Friday of the month, big day tomorrow. So let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and make sure that you participate and engage. You got to dive in, right? Got to dive in. So like Ryan always says, keep showing up for yourself when you're here, right? So let's make sure that we ask questions and participate so you can compress time frames and shorten your learning curve. With that being said, if everybody can hear me loud and clear, do me a big favor, drop me a 1 in the chat. All right, so a few more people that just joined us. Good evening. Make sure that everybody has control over their microphone. All right, I think we are good there. So let's exit out of here. We can close that out. Let's head over to the calendar. Ryan, good evening. How are you, sir?
Benny, I'm doing well, man. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Closing out the week. Closing out the week. So tomorrow's gonna be interesting. Been listening and stuff all day. All eyes on the non-farm, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we shall see. So yeah, so we got those today. We got those ECB monetary policy meeting accounts that came out, and it, just going back and review is just, hey, the large majority, very large number of council members for that last hike that they had were for 775 basis points, and still, right? Still, they're saying going forward, we're looking to be data dependent, knowing that they have to get inflation under control, but still everything is going to be data dependent. Just because you had a large majority of members agree on 75 basis points for this last time around doesn't mean that that's going to happen again going forward, but I think it probably will. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then you had the Bank of Canada governor speak today, and even less pivot hope from Paris. Bank leans into hawkish rate path, right? Jolting bonds. So all these central banks are getting aggressive. We know what was that? That was the RBNZ, right? That came with that. Which one? Or was it the what was it earlier this week? Oh, it was the Reserve Bank of Australia that came.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, that came with a little less than expected. But for the most part, inflation continues to be the issue. So I think they're going to continue to remain hawkish as they continue to play catch up there. So when we look at trading economics, U.S. stocks remain under pressure. So what? Just a few days ago, we were talking like, oh yeah, right. Had a little bright spot in the market, but we expected to turn back over. And that's exactly what's going on. U.S. companies cut the most jobs in 3 months. ECB to raise rates further on inflation worries. So oil rally gained steam because the whole the OPEC situation, the cartel at work. So, and they're pretty shrewd about it too. I was watching some press conference today involving OPEC. So they don't seem to be bothered by what they're doing. Don't care. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be nice to eventually get off of that type of dependency. So what else did I want to go over quickly? The US 10-year, right? So we got a correction. We came off that high of over 4%, and now we've pulled back and we're pushing higher again. Okay, we're pushing higher again. So as a result, right, as the bond yields goes, typically so does the dollar. That almost looks identical. All right, almost looks identical. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. So we were asking all week, was this level going to hold? And so far, it's holding. Okay, so dollar bulls are out. Okay, dollar bulls are out. Dollar still strong. Okay, so not feeling the pain yet. We started getting data that supports the Fed's hawkish stance. So you see it technically. What's going on? Dollar found support, and as of right now, it's pushing up. Now we know that we've got non-farm payroll tomorrow, so we'll see how that comes through. Any questions on the dollar, inflation, what's going on? Right.
No, sir.
All right, so we're good there. So tonight, let's start out taking a look at some of these dollar pairs to start out. So we'll start out with the USCAD. That's the 4 where we spotted that Gartley. But you can see just from a weekly level, we broke it and we've retested it, right? We pulled back and retested, and you can see that in the wave when we go down to the lower time frames. We retested that level, so now it's just a matter of whether or not it wants to continue up. Now, this one is a funny one because tomorrow we've got employment numbers for both Canada and the US happening at the exact same time. At the exact same time, okay? So if you got long on this UCAD, just manage your trade, right? If you want to scale out some of your positions, protect yourself, close out some profit. Wouldn't blame you for doing that, being conservative. Okay, so just manage your trade. You did all the work to get yourself in the position for the long, right? And we got it. There's that break above that 137.12. There's the pullback, we retest the trend line, and then a continuation up. So right off that Gartley, right, that we spotted on the 4 hours. So dollar bullish. If you come to the 1, it's bullish. Right? We're above that level now. So long. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on the UCAD. That's been a good play. It's been a really good play. You got all types of price action happening there, right? You got your crown reversal there, okay, with your trend line breaking. Okay. Like we always say, once you see it, you're going to continue to see it. Okay. There's a reversal moving to the upside. So we'll continue to see and monitor the UCAD. Anybody get long on the UCAD? You're sitting on the sidelines waiting until after the dust settles with the non-farm?
I don't know how I missed that one.
What'd you say?
So I don't know how I missed that one.
Were you've been on all week, right? You've been on all week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Been on all week. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, we had covered this Gartley.
Monday or Tuesday?
I think so.
Okay.
I had to go back and look. But it's gonna be interesting, man. With the, I mean, it's moved quite a ways off the. Out of the zone. It's up 243 off the trend line break. It's up 120 or so. Right. So it's good. Good little move. Good little move there. 6 man off the bench. Pretty good. So that's some really good price action there. I want to take a look at this dollar Swiss, right? Bullish. It's been bullish. Right? Beautiful 80-20 play to the downside off the last fib. Completed that one, and now we may be looking to complete another. Now this one didn't give us a good deep correction, but it double bottoms right here in this zone. Okay. All right. Double bottom there in that zone with support, found support, and it took off. Right? So kind of rangy, but moving long nonetheless. Broke back up above this 98.84 weekly level. Okay, so dollar long right now. Dollar long right now. Now let's take a look at the UJ. Oh, these yen crosses. Still.
Surprise, surprise.
Man. Towing the line. Towing that 145. We're almost there, 144.93. jumping up between 93 and 94. Oh, so we'll see. Look at that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Tomorrow it should move though. It should break out tomorrow in either up or down. So just continue to watch that. But we need a catalyst for that. That's all I got on the UJ. There's just not much to look at. That's terrible. Right. Oh yeah, around 2 o'clock, right? In the afternoon. You are right. You are right. Especially after London closed, right? And the crossover period is over between the US and London markets. It slows down anyway, but definitely, right? We talked about that, how don't be surprised if you start to see the market move sideways because everybody's waiting on the big number for it tomorrow. So that's the UJ. I'll get through that one quick, fast, in a hurry. NZD USD is still hovering, right? Can't make the move. Can't make the move. But we're still within that 80-20 scenario there. Right. So we started to make some higher highs and higher lows, then we got a nice complex pullback, taking out that higher low. And now we're just kind of just hanging out a little bit. Just hanging out. But we're still within the range for that play. So hey, we get strong dollar numbers tomorrow. Okay. Well, at first you just typically like to bounce around to investors digest all three major reports that come out tomorrow. But you know, if it looks strong for the dollar, then you may see that push down to the monthly level, even to the D. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's where we are on the NZD USD on daily. Right. We got a 382 up against daily resistance, and we've just been stagnating here, right? Stochastic back, right? So all of that that choppiness here, okay, that range, we're back up into the sell zone. So it's gonna be interesting tomorrow to see what happens. See what happens there. The extension right at that monthly support at 54.59. So I'll definitely be waiting to see what happens on that one. Any questions on the NZD USD? Sometimes like this, when we're just blazing through the charts, you should be looking at the charts and say, do I have the same setup, right? That's what we want this to be, one big mastermind. Are we all looking at the same thing? Does it look the same? If not, why? And let's talk about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ryan's wrong, right? So we appreciate everybody's perspective, whether you're new, you know, or you've been here for over a year. Okay, so always remember that. Okay, so that's where we are on the NZD USD pound dollar. Woo! Please, somebody tell me, right? We were just talking about this last night, right? With the crown, that 118 zone, right? Ryan's been talking about it. Everybody's been talking about it. It's pretty. Ryan, you still holding, or you out ahead of non-farm?
It's funny you asked. I'm still holding, but I was looking at it, trying to decide if I'll shut it down a little earlier or wait for this last push. But I'm still holding short at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still pound, you know, long-term pound bearish, right? That's that 1 hour swing, but this is the monster right here. We broke below that 112. We discussed that, right? So we're sitting below it now. Strong dollar numbers, man. That's gonna be nice.
Man on man.
That'll be nice. That'd be nice. We're not going there. What is that? About 127,000 pips. 1,000 pips. So it's trying to turn over. Tomorrow will be interesting. I'll make no predictions. Pound dollar. Any questions? Who's short? Drop me a 1 if you're short on the pound dollar. No, nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody's short.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Missed the entry.
Okay.
I got you.
I was gonna jump back in, but I was sticking to my trading plan.
That's it. Got to stick to the plan. Hey, if it's going to continue down, it'll give you other opportunities. Think about it. If you get that major thrust to the downside, we know oftentimes the market comes and takes a lot of that right back. So it'll give you the correction eventually if that happens tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see. And you might have it tomorrow where, we already know interest rates are, are priced into the dollar because we got a very strong dollar. And tomorrow, I mean, you have a lot of non-farm payrolls where you don't have anything. You don't get any fireworks really. So that wouldn't surprise me either. But that's where we are on the pound dollar. You can see from the monthly level, it's gonna look like it's gonna get to that monthly D extension. Huh. Fascinating. Fascinating. Euro dollar. And that 4. It's a good pullback to the sell zone. Now we're coming down. We almost had that drawn up exactly the way it played out. Dropping in the zone, right? So that's already 200 pips to the downside. So I think if anything, if we get data that's not favorable to the strength of the dollar, it forces corrections to occur. But I think just still overall, with the way it's going in regards to monetary policy, the dollar is still the biggest bull in the room. So I expect this to continue to fall. I don't expect any type of major trend reversal. I think it's still euro dollar to the downside. Any questions on the euro dollar? No.
No, sir.
Anybody trading the euro dollar short?
I was looking for one more push to the upside, so I didn't take it. Didn't get to my level.
Yeah, no. Jeremy, no. Jeremy, no. Is anybody in anything? Or is everybody just flat ahead of not farm?
I'm still holding on all CAD.
Yeah, short. Yeah, that's a good long.
Yep.
That's a good long swing. Yep. GBPUSD. Okay. Flat. I got it. Yeah. All right. Trace, look, hey, one thing if you've been with us for a while, same thing happens over and over and over again. I continue to be, after all these years, amazed by that. Like, it's another AB boundary, it's another 820, that's another 61.8 again. Like, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? But you do have to be oh yeah, okay. You took the EU on the bond of deep retracement. I like it. What time frame, Reese? Did you take the entry on?
Like the one.
The one. I could dig it. My man. The ways make sense. That's good to hear. I like that. All right. Aussie dollar. Okay. We are, I don't want to do that. Still pushing bearish. All right, look at that. That just rejected. Continue to move to the downside. All right. So kind of range a little bit. Makes sense ahead of tomorrow. Okay. So we'll see what happens. There's a daily D extension. Still, what is this? 280 pips away from the daily D extension. So that's why I'm just a firm believer that, hey, any data that's negative for the dollar is just going to force a correction, but it will ultimately continue to the downside. And that's the beautiful thing about, you know, if you take it long-term swings, like once price gets into your levels and you trade small, your entry doesn't even have to be perfect. You know, that's the beautiful thing about fundamentals. We always, you know, teach and talk about fundamentals and how if you start to gain an understanding of fundamentals, you can kind of gain a bias or have an idea of the direction that the market is most likely going before you even turn on your charts. You know, and over time that becomes a huge advantage, especially, you know, when you do it long enough to where you really start to develop some strong convictions, because that's when you start to have your patience for those large corrections, right? Those large corrections. And if you're using proper risk management, okay, big corrections, you know, price running the other way for a short period of time, you know, during the short term will drive you crazy, right? If your risk management is horrible, if you're over leveraged. And that's what gets most people. That's what shakes them out of trades is they're in there too high. They're in there too high. Okay. So think about that. If you trade somebody tell me, if you trade one micro lot, how many units of currency is that?
10,000.
1,000, right? 1,000. One micro lot, right? Your mini is 10,000, 100,000 for your standard. Appreciate it. So, you know, that's money. You know, that's money. The challenge is it's not a lot when you put that up against, say, I'm scalping for 5 or 10 pips. But if you're swing trading and you know how to, you know, accumulate pips, right? That's why we always say focus on the pips and the money will come. Think of things in pips and percentage. Okay, pips and percentage. You know, you may have a small account, but if you have $1,000 account and you make $50 on it, it's a decent return. Sometimes people don't, right? They don't see it in that perspective because the way this is introduced to people a lot of times, okay, they don't think about that. Like I think it was Ryan, I don't know, I think it was the medallion, the medallion fund from what is the name of the group? Jim Simons, right? One of the most successful, well, probably in regards to returns, the most successful from, I think it was from like 88 to was it 99 or something like that. They had annual returns of he hires a lot of quants and things like that, but it was like annualized returns of like 66% gross after fees and everything. It was like 30, I think between 36 to 39% or something like that. So think about that. That's the cream of the crop. So you talk about your average is probably between 25%, like the best of the best, right? For a hedge fund doing a year. So think about that. It's like say 24%. It's like 2% a month, right? Now you have the ability to compound and use leverage, where you can do better than that, right? But to do it consistently, right? It takes skill. It takes time. So you might not seem like when you have a small account that you're not doing much, but when you think of things in terms of pips and percentage, you're doing a whole lot. You're doing a whole lot. And if you can get consistent at it, trust me, your account won't be at the size that it is for long. Right. So sometimes you just have to see things in a different perspective. And so that's my 2 cents. Ryan, what you think?
I'm in agreement 1,000%, man. It's literally just changing the perspective of, it's kind of like the things that we were taught as kids about how the world works and all of this. And then you get to be an adult and you're like, that really don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Changing the perspective, right?
Yep.
So what you're talking about is the exact same thing. Shifting the perspective from what you thought and what somebody told you was how this worked to what actually it is. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. You know, so like you said, give yourself time. Think about it when you've developed, the skill set technically, gained it, the knowledge fundamentally and psychologically, right? You just become that stellar trader, and you're like, my fundamental bias is bearish on this, right? And as the weeks go through and you see the corrections happening, but you still hold steadfast and say, those pullbacks and those corrections just give me opportunities to add to my position, because fundamentally my bias has not changed one bit, right? Has not changed one bit with this Aussie dollar, right? Because if I go and I look at something like the monthly, the dollar has been just on tear, right? And it takes time to get to that point. I'm not all the way there yet. I'm not all the way there yet. Something I'm working towards, though. Yeah, over the long term, gotten better and better. And you have your setbacks. You do. We all do. But that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal. Just keep accumulating pips. All right. So that is. Did I miss a? I didn't miss. Oh, the gold. I'm gonna take a gold. Look at gold versus the dollar. And we see, right? We talked about this last night. That level held, didn't it? And it held big time. Look at that bearish candle. Okay, so we all worked together and we got that one. We got that one figured out. Okay. Anybody short gold? Where my gold traders at? Anybody on here tonight trading gold?
Oh yeah, I am in that one.
Joy was a lot of irons in the fire. Use proper risk management. It's good. Always got something going. Ebony, yes. Good. Good job. So that's it. That's excellent work. Excellent work. So that's it. All right. That's a good play for gold. It's a really good play for gold. I want to take a look at silver. All right. Bouncing around. We're thinking, put this up a long time ago, thinking maybe we get that bounce in the continuation and went right back up to retest these levels. Makes sense. Ebbs and flows. The bear market rallies. One day everybody's positive, the stock market is up. The next day is down 300, 400 points again. Right. So we continue to watch that one. Holding at this level, broke right back below this level here, this 2084 level. All right. But definitely expect that to swing bearish if the sentiment continues to sour in the markets. The demand won't be there. Won't be there. So look back at this Bitcoin. It's still moving sideways. Doing absolutely nothing. That's Bitcoin. I want to run through a check on these Aussies. Right? Still bouncing around. Okay. Bears to neutral. He's having his moments, trying to break back above that 88.15. That 88.15 is a key level. Keeps dancing around that level, but I ultimately look for that to continue bearish. All right. It's the 1, 4, right? Steady declining. All right. That's the overall. You can see that comes in pretty much right around the same zone. So we're getting there. We're getting there. All right. Aussie Swiss. Sideways. At this level. But we still don't have a 382. So you want to keep an eye on that one. On the 4. Okay. Should start to get some movement out of those tomorrow. This one here got up to this 382, which is range bound though. Bearish to neutral. Let me get this out of here now because that actually played out to the upside there. I'll push it down, clean this up. So let me ask a question to the group in regards to your chart markups. How often, right? Anybody can speak up on this. How often do you clear all your charts and mark up your support and resistance levels? How often are you doing it? Once a week, once a month, once a quarter? Once a week. It's good repetition there. Mary once every 2 months. Every month. Okay, good. Once a month. Not enough for me. Yeah, keep working. Keep working. Appreciate the honesty. Once a week, good. So does everybody feel like get those reps in? Does it help you out? Does it help slow the price action down for you? The more and more you see it, the more and more you do it. Yeah. Struggle with directional bias. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's tough. Right? We always say when in doubt, stay out, right? If you can't determine, especially from the higher time frames, if you can't determine what direction is going, pass it, pass on. Market support and resistance levels, but then you just it makes me put limit orders in everywhere. I know. Hey, the chief, my mentor, he's a limit order king. Most of his trades are limit orders, limit and stop orders. He's real carefree with it, and he no lower than the 4-hour chart, and he sets everything up, and he puts those limit orders and stuff in on Sunday evening, and then he lets his game plan play out. Okay. Yeah, so if you can't, if it's so that could be one of your filters, JC, that if you can't determine a lot of times, right? So if you just see that price, right, moving. See this here, this is really just moving. This USD, but see how that's just moving across the screen right there? That's just range bound, really. Right? So sometimes, right, I've learned to play these just simple support and resistance. If we get an impulse leg like we have here, I'll drop a fib to kind of identify, where some target areas may be. But ultimately, it's in a large range. So you just mark your support and resistance, and then look to see where price breaks out eventually, right? So we know right now, from this weekly perspective, okay, we topped out. And so JC, tell me, which way is this going? Weekly chart. Which way has price been moving?
It seems rangy, but heading down.
Down, right? So think about it. So sometimes, right, we see all of this, okay? And sometimes we just gotta zoom in, right? You'll see me do that from time to time. You'll see Ryan do it from time to time. Like, you know what? Let me just look at price action right now, right? Because here off this leg, it's ranging, but off this leg, right, we've been moving up. Ultimately, that's been making what? Higher highs and higher lows, correct? To the upside. See that? So we see that that's been trending up, right, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. But now we came into this price level, and it's been 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's been pushing down. So when you're looking at this weekly chart, especially, right, you're not a long-term positional trader. For the last 3 weeks, think about that. It's been moving down. Okay, it's been moving down. So one of the things you can do, okay, as a trader is that if I'm looking at the weekly, and this is my high chart, I'm like, this is bearish. Okay, this week we've gotten a little bit bullish, a correction, but this is bearish. So one of the things that you can do, right, see, is you could say, do I want to clear this? I want to take this off like this. Okay. If I'm seeing this from my weekly, okay, do that. I've already done it on that level. You can say, look, 1, 2, 3 weeks has been bearish. So I'm just gonna come here to my daily, and I'm gonna deploy my fibs in a bearish direction, like that. Okay, that's how you can play it.
I guess my struggle too is like how much price action to consider. Like you're saying, like when do I
Yep.
zoom in and when do I zoom out?
Yeah. So it depends on part of that is going to be depending on the type of trader that you become too,
Okay.
right? You know, so if you don't like being in long swings for weeks and things like that, then
Mhm.
just consider the near-term relative price action.
So I've been back testing and I've been comfortable with entering on a 1 hour time frame
Okay.
and being comfortable with like that amount of time that the trades play out, which is about a week.
Yep. Yep.
So would
That
that be
is on the money.
intraday or would that be swing?
That goes back and forth. Sometimes some folks that's project depending on some people go by pips, some people go by days, some people go,
Okay.
you know. So at the end of the day, I always try to teach people like you're just a trader.
Okay.
You're like, you know what I mean? You're just a trader that likes trading on the 1 hour chart.
Okay.
That's the simplest way to do it because you'll see articles written, you know, different language being used, different, you know, it's almost like it's all relative sometimes. But I would just say like, hey, I'm a trader. I'm like water. I know how to make the money on the way up and the way down using price action, support, resistance, and fibs. You know, so if you're looking at this from your weekly and you're like, you know, this is moving down, okay, then you may not necessarily worry about all of this. You see what I mean? You don't have to, right? Okay. We teach everything universally, so you can kind of, you know, eventually become your own trader and determine what you like, right? So, but the concept is the same. So if I'm saying, you know what, I'm bearish, right, off of this. If I'm looking at weekly candles, like man, this thing went is bearish, so maybe a correction, but I'm looking for what? So if I'm bearish on this from this weekly perspective, my next support level is where?
Uh, 95.22.
Yeah, there's 90.52, right? Right here from a weekly chart. So if I'm deploying everything bearish, then this is what I'm looking for. So when I go down through my charts,
That'll be a next target.
yeah, I just want to be bearish. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just want to play it bearish. And if that's my bias, then it's like, okay, I want a correction. And then I'm gonna look to get back short on this. All right.
Mhm.
So that's where some of the fundamentals can help you out too. You know, when technically you're like, oh, it looks this way, but fundamentally what's going on? Well, we're starting to get that negative sentiment, you know, that risk off type of thing. The markets are tightening. You know, it's actually kind of back and forth because you get labor numbers coming out of some places that still says otherwise. But you're starting to see some things contract. Typically, think about it. The Aussie is a commodity currency. The yen typically in most scenarios acts as a safe haven. If we're risk off, commodity currencies usually take the hit. There's less demand, right, for commodities. And that's what the Aussie is, a commodity currency. So I'm thinking bearish. So you know what? I'm going to deploy my fibs in a bearish direction until the markets tell me I'm wrong. You get that thought process?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to your weekly. Look at it like, you know what? So like you like trading on the one. Go up to the weekly. What am I looking like? See if I can look right now, near term. I'm bearish. All right. If you can't determine it, move on. Move on to the next setup. Right. So that's just like here on this Aussie NZD. Now we know the NZD is a commodity currency too. But I'm also like, yes, this has been bullish, but man, we're coming into some strong levels. So I'm looking for a correction at this level. It's pretty high, right? We see it. So I make the determination that, hey, I want to move bearish. So I'm coming through, right? This up fib is telling me that I'm in an 80-20 zone for confirmation, right? So that's additional confirmation. But the main thing is that I'm up against 114.26, a key monthly level, and we may see rejection. The fib just gave me some additional confirmation that that's an 80-20 zone. But all roads still lead to, hey, some possible bearish momentum. Maybe short term, maybe it becomes a long term thing. You really never know quite yet, but I just know I'm at that level. So when I'm down on these lower time frames, I'm going to look to deploy my fibs in the bearish capacity. Okay. Draw your trend line. If I get a trend line break, get a pullback, I'm looking to get short. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna get stopped out. The market's gonna take my A out and it's gonna tell me I'm wrong. That's the game. That's the game. We all know now that we have to be good losers, right? To make it, okay, and to become consistently profitable. So as funny as that sounds, it's true. So now I'm like, hey, I'm favoring to the downside up against this level. Take your shot. Take your shot. Follow your process, right? Live with the results. Okay, become obsessed with the process. So that's where we are. So it's like, hey, this is bearish. Okay. And then you manage your trade from there. All right. So good question. Good question. Thanks for putting that out. Thanks for putting that out there. Right. Because a lot of people, right? We always say in the very beginning, like a lot of people fail in the markets because what? One, they can't get the direction right. If you could do that, that's half the battle. That's half the battle. You can absolutely be terrible at entries. If your risk management is decent and you can get the direction right, eventually that trade is going to go your way, right? If you if you pop the trade in and you had good risk management on the Aussie dollar right now, and say it's all relative to your account. Let's say I traded this at 20 cents. This thing go and retrace 400 pips. That entry is horrible. But you know what? If my direction is ultimately right, it's going to move into profit eventually. If your risk management is good, if it's not tying up your whole account because you're over leveraged. Everybody follow me on that, drop me a 2. Right? Because it's just a maturation process. And a lot of people never get to that breakthrough point because they quit. They quit. You know, you give yourself a chance. It's been 6 months. I quit. What? Like, you know, you're playing against in these markets. It'll take you a little bit longer than that. Okay. So give yourself some time. So you'd be horrible, but hey, I got the direction right, it's down. So eventually that trade is going to move into profit if you can hold the position. All right, 3 feet from gold. That's it. So we know a guy, Ryan and I, where he's confident in his direction, but he doesn't worry about the timing. He was trained as a day trader, right? He trained as a day trader, but he hated it. He was like, I couldn't stand the days where I would take the losses. You know, I'm in and out of all of these trades. My eyes are hurting. I'm on a computer all day. I would take a hit on the loss. I couldn't stand it because it's like you lose quick. I didn't like that. I didn't really give myself a chance. Now I'm mad. He was like, I'm mad at my wife, mad at my kids. I don't want to talk to anybody, right? Because now I got to make that money back. So he became a swing trader. And what he'll do is that he'll just, and he's made money. He'll trade very, very small. Okay. He'll trade very, very small. And say, for example, 80-20. Right. He'll have his target. Okay. Right. Where, you know, he'll work his risk management out, however he does it, and he'll have it where, okay, I'm in this zone. We use 80-20 for an example. Okay. And he knows, right? So there may be times where he drips his first trade in. Okay. At his beat boundary. And he trades super small. And if it goes his way, great. Correction, pull back, he'll look to add to the position. Okay. But if it ends up in drawdown, he knows next level here. All right. So he's got orders there. U-turn points. He's done it long enough to know, right? That I'm not gonna worry about it, right? So he'll accumulate small positions, okay? And a lot of people are dead set against it, but it's worked for him. It's worked for him. That's how he became consistently profitable. He's like, I know these zones. I'm good with the fundamentals. The trade's gonna turn, and when it turns, all those trades are gonna go into profit. But he does his math so that he knows that if he gets stopped out on all of them, he's out of 3%, right? They're larger moves. He's out of 3%, 2%, 4%, right? So they're major plays for him. But he's not, the point I'm trying to make is he's not obsessed with entries. Just not. He believes he's going to accumulate small positions and he's going to make money over time. And that worked for him. But it took him years to get to that point, to understand that this is who he was as a person. Psychologically, this is what he can handle. This is what he can handle. And the math, and he makes the math work. That's what he does. That's what he does. So something to think about. That's how that ACAD hit, and I still forgot it was running. Yeah, you know what's crazy and right? I don't know if this is happening to you too. Like Joy, this happened to Joy. Like some of my best. Now think about this, and this is how you know this is all psychology. Some of my best trades ever are trades that I forgot about.
Fact.
And when that happened, when that started happening to me, it made sense in what the chief told us in the very beginning. Once you do your trade plan, once you understand and master stellar risk management, don't fiddle with the trade. He tells it all the time. Go shopping, go Target, go to Walmart, go do something. But once you have your trade plan set and you got everything set up for the week, and you enter your orders in, you limit orders or whatever it's going to be, don't fiddle with the trade. And he knows there's going to be times where you go in and you adjust stops eventually and things like that. But he's just talking about on the onset, like just let it go. You know that I'm already in a 1/4% risk, a 0.5% risk, and that's hard. It's a hard thing to do because you just want to be around it all the time. But just let it go. But some of my best trades have been ones that I've clicked on the account and it's like, oh, right. So that it told me something, that it was more me than anything. All right. So many times, right, me and Ryan have gotten together and gone through, charts and setups, and it was just like, man, we took a screenshot of this, like, bro, tell me why am I not still in this position?
We've looked at some that 6, 8, 10 months old, year old, that went exactly where we thought it was going to go from the beginning.
Yeah. We're around for a lot of this. Right? It's like, why has there been times where I closed this position out and looked and got back in on position? Like, why don't I still have it originally set up running? Why? It's mindset. So to make a long story short, what I'm really trying to tell everybody is show up to Mindset Mondays. Anyway, let me just want to throw that out there because it is so important. So think about it here, right? Think about this EURUSD. And I think it's good we have this conversation tonight. The market's moving sideways anyway. And I hope if I can help one person, Ryan can help one person, we'll do our job. Okay. Now, if the bias is short and it's staying within this AB boundary, right? And you're trading small, and this is your game plan, is to hold this position until it hits the D extension. And right? So say you got in this position and you like that. I got a 50%, look, that's a 50% level with structure. I gotta take that. It's right at the edge of my sell zone. I like them 61/8 or deeper. That's got structure. That's a weekly level sitting right there in the middle. I'm in. I got my stop loss. Okay. So you get in, this position. You're in, bang. Put my stop above the A. Why? Because if it pulled back, so you tell it to yourself, you say it to yourself. Well, if it pulls back to these positions, right, I can add to it. It's within the AB boundary. I only got a 0.25% riding on that first entry. If it pulls back, that's gonna give me another opportunity to continue short. So hey, if it pulls back into a zone up against this level, I'll take another position. I'm only a 0.5% in. I can live with that. Stops above the A. Right? So I'm looking at off this 50. Looking at stop above the A, call it 400 or whatnot. 914. Risk to reward is there. Trading small. 20 cent, 30 cent, 10 cent. What's gonna make me jump out? Right? Somebody tell me what would make you get out of this short position? Hawkish Fed. What's gonna make you get out? Fear. Yeah. Fear. You've done the math. Fundamentals are in your favor. Scared. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to cover this is because you all are showing up every night. You're working hard to learn this thing. And that's the only thing that's going to stop you is fear. If you let it. Right? Because this has been going down. Right? Now we teach you how to do your day trades, counter trend trades, things like that. But at the end of the day, this has been going down. All right. So think about that. If you play on the 4 hour, right? Okay. Who was that? Was that Mary? Said that? Was that this morning? Said I go no lower than the 4 hour?
Desi.
Mary? That was Desi. Desi. Okay. Desi. Right? I go in the 4 hour. Right. So this comes into your zone. Right. Pound dollar. Right. It's moving down. Yeah. Whew. If it hits my stop, I'm out a 0.5%, 1/4%, 1%, whatever, however you set it up. I told myself before I went to bed, I could live with that. What changed? Because once you place that trade, you really don't be on. Hey, your risk management, your risk control. That's the one thing you can control. How this price action flows to its target or to the stop, and you didn't do nothing about that. Think about that. Right. 200? Yes. Oh yeah. That's the go. That's one of the golden averages there, buddy. Right, especially from the higher time frames. You know, right? Especially from your higher time frames. Okay, 200 and your 50. Jeremy on the big boy stuff. Jeremy was the one that told me on that Aussie dollar, like, dude, tripping. You need to go on this weekly on that Aussie dollar, right? I still remember that. Okay. Right. Kind of moving straight through, but the pitch is starting to change to the downside a little bit on that 200. That takes a while from the weekly. And boy, we're about to get that death cross there, Jeremy. to the downside at 50 crossing over that 200. Yeah, 200 is a good one. Good indicator, right? Especially on them higher time frames and stuff like that. Good one. Good confirmation. Thanks for bringing that to the group. For sure. No doubt. All right. So these things we need to think about, right? You guys are doing all of this work. You're doing all of this work. Make it pay off for you. We went through it together. We saw it. We had our questions at this 149.66 level because it hesitated a little bit. But man, didn't that ultimately break and go back to the top of that range that we had drawn up? Okay. Things to think about. Done that, yep. It did, didn't it? I looked at it the other day, like, man, it went right back. And I'm going through this with you, with everybody, because Ryan knows, because I got him on speed dial. After all these years and teaching and all of this stuff, I still have those moments where I'm just like, is that what I really think is going to happen? Even though I've seen it over and over and over and over again, seeing the patterns repeat itself, you still second guess yourself at times, no matter how good you become at risk management, right? So this conversation is really coming from, personal experience in the markets, right? And you want to get out, you want to do your best to get it under control, right? Find somebody to talk to, whatnot, because it'll really hinder your trading career. This moved, right? 700 pips. Now I don't know, how many of you have heard on YouTube? I know I have. I'm a YouTube junkie. I think it's the greatest university in the world. I like getting everybody's perspective, but I couldn't tell you how many times. I'd be a millionaire if I had $1 for it. As many times as I've heard it. Those big moves, those big 100, 200 pip moves, those are rare. It's not often that you get those big moves. So you get your money, get out the market. Right. Kim, you too? Yeah, me too. I get lost in YouTube. But I've heard that. Ryan, have you heard that?
Man, look. at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Yep. Yep. And you all have a skill set where you're finding 100 pip moves, 150 pip moves on a 1 hour chart. Think about that, right? Think about it. Okay. Don't be afraid to pat yourself on the back. You're making progress. See, look, right? Out of that zone, this is a 4 hour chart. Okay, that's 200 pips. We came together in this group. It's a family, and we said, you know what? That's a potential setup there. Okay, just like that. But you hear people all the time say, "Oh, those trades." I heard a big time YouTuber say that. He said, "I'll catch one of those major moves maybe once a year, twice a year." You're finding them all the time. You guys' skill set, right? Especially those who've been with us for a while. It's there. And it's all going to come down now between what's going on between your 2 ears. That's it. And not being afraid to lose. And not being afraid to admit that you're not going to be right all the time. As a matter of fact, I might not be right the majority of the time. Once you get your head wrapped around that, it's game on. Because it's only up from there. It's only fine tuning from there. Okay. So I don't care if you have a $10,000 account and you have to trade in micros to build your confidence. Right? 10 cents per thousand. So yeah, you got $10,000, you're only trading at $1 per pip. Trust me, with these swings, Ryan, I know you know. Oftentimes, that's all you need.
That's all you need.
It's just a different way to look at the markets, everybody. Different way to look at the markets. You accumulate 1,500 pips in a month at $1, that's $1,500. Man, it's time for me to scale up to $2. That's 1,500. This became 3,000. And you didn't punch a clock for it. That's what I like about it the most. Hey, any questions before we log off? Markets are dragging. Everybody's waiting on the news tomorrow. It's the beginning of the month. Things will get rocking and rolling with the volatility in the fourth quarter. Tim said, I'm afraid to hold because after time it goes back toward my trade entry. Yeah, absolutely. It does. I've been there. And look, this one did too. All right. For 124 pips. And then it reversed and went almost 170. But as long as it doesn't take out the A, it has no choice to go my way. And then after it gets up so much, you're going to start adjusting your stop a bit anyway. Okay. Not jumping out the trade, but rolling your stop up. And things like that. When it comes to trade management, that's a skill too. You good.
Danny, how are you? Thanks for tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Can you share with us, because I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm getting results, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just get to a point where like I get lazy, like, you know, like I know the stuff, I do everything, and I'm like, I don't have that, what's the word? Like when you first get started, like that energy, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm like, where, you know, is that part of the process? I'm like,
yeah, it is, because it becomes that's why because one of the reasons why we formed this group is for community, right? Because trading, you know, whether it's us, any other groups that you might be a part of, it's like the loneliest thing in the world. It's like the most boring thing in the world, because it's like you're running a business that just accumulates. You're just accumulating capital, right? and it's flowing with the market. So I don't think it's once you develop the skill set, like I don't say, right, I don't know what you like. I'm not what gets me excited is the community and the group and being able to teach others and learn from others and get feedback. But the actual process of trading, it's like I don't, you know, I'm not about to drop confetti. You know what I mean? like
that could get comfortable, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, like once you settle in on the others, it's like, listen, but Pop Warner football, high school football, college football. Listen, by the time you get to college and you start football camp and you start out again, like with this is how you form the huddle. This is a football, and this is how you form the huddle. I don't think anybody at this certain amount of time is excited about that. you know what I mean? Like nobody is excited about that process, you know. But what makes me what keeps me going is that I just think it's unbelievable the ability to be able to make money from money, right? For me, being able to help people change their lives by learning this skill, and the fact that I'll be able to teach this skill to my children, you know, and they can teach it to their children, right? It's a generational shift, you know. So that really keeps me going. I still get excited when I'm winning trades, though. I'll tell you that. I'm not super fired up when I'm doing the ritual, you know, my ritual, when I'm on my own and I'm marking up charts and getting ready for the week, because it's almost like, you know, that one thing that I do for the day. But I do get excited about the results from it. So I'm not on fire for the process, but I'm addicted to the process, though. I'm obsessed with the process. You know, and I love the results that I get. So yeah.
I got
Ryan,
2 cents.
yep, go ahead.
I want to say, because I work full time, I burn out real quick, and I mean I burn out fast. And it got to a point to where my husband was finding me sleep in the chair. And then by the time I get up, like, okay, get in the bed, and I sit and I looked at that computer, let me finish marking this chart up. And as soon as I get to marking that chart up, then I'm up and I'm ready to go. So for me, it becomes procrastination because I know I got to do it. But then I love doing it because somebody told me, you just always looking at that iPad at them things. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
Absolutely. Ryan, thoughts?
Thank you. I
You're
just feel
welcome.
sometimes
Yeah,
I
man.
have to like push myself beyond. I'm like, why do I have to like force myself to like do this stuff, you know? But it's interesting.
Yeah. And the thing, Benny said it, right? Remind yourself of why you do what you do. Inky Johnson said it the best. He said, people don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because the world has made them forget why they do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective determines performance. So the perspective in which you're going at what you're doing. So when you get to those points, and I've had to remind myself of this a lot, especially as of late, right? Going back to why I do what I do, why we show up every morning and every evening. And that's why I would say this isn't easy. It's not easy, right? The process is more about what's between your two ears than what's actually on the chart most times. So when you get to those points, not if, but when, continue to remind yourself of why you do what you do, right? Why you're seeking to learn the skill, why you're seeking to develop yourself and grow from a personal perspective. What will that allow you to do? And that's what helps me come back to center and really be able to recharge without needing any outside quote unquote motivation, right? It's all intrinsic because my desire for why I do what I do is so great. So I think reminding yourself of that is huge.
Absolutely, man. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I was in college playing football, and in my spare time, I was eating ramen noodles and playing video games. So when so when I think about, man, my kids might be in the dorm room, but they might have stock charts up, you know, and be making money in college, you know, and then actually consider the finance class and actually know why they're there. You know what I mean? And you know, that I think that's a game changer. That's a game changer. And I look back like, man, I had at 18, 19 years old, I didn't have the slightest clue. The slightest clue. But they'll have the opportunity, you know, to be on top of that and know what this is about. from a very young age, so yeah, it's cool. Great conversation, everybody. It's a great way to close out the week, but definitely some things to think about, because you guys are going to have, this is a sharp group. You guys have these technicals and these fundamentals down a whole lot more than you think you do. It's just finding the confidence behind it, right? Because that's the thing about trading, right? It's not like work, right? Well, this department would have did this, then I would have been able to complete what I needed to complete. Or my boss's management is terrible. You can't do that here. You can't. It's you versus you.
Mano a mano.
That's it. That's it. You can't chill, and because you got hired in, and there's policies and rules, and you can slack off for 2-3 weeks and still get paid every other week. All right. Now, at the end of the year, you might not get the bonus or the raise that you want, but you still get paid. Here, that's not what this is, right? So that's why we always say look at trading as a business, because it's similar to when you're an entrepreneur and you got your own business, and it's on you, right? It's on you. So that type of mindset, right? So it's just revenues as expenses. I lose a trade, that's my expenses, right? And then I gain revenue when I'm winning trades and things like that. So I've always, looked at this, from a better perspective when I looked at it as a business, trading as a business, right? If I own my own business. So that's it. Great session. Look forward to seeing everybody Saturday, Forex weekly ritual. Let's make sure if we get a chance, I know we're all busy, but if you get a chance to watch that news tomorrow for non-farm payroll and the Canadian jobs numbers that come out, it's always pretty fascinating to not only see what happens on the charts. Like I say, sometimes you get explosive moves, sometimes you don't, because so many things seem to be getting more priced in more frequently now ahead of these major reports, because the data, everybody's getting the data so fast now because of technology. But it's also good to watch. I like watching the pundits and things and seeing what they think, like on Bloomberg and all that other stuff afterwards. So with that being said, have a great evening, everybody. Good night.
Good night.